All right, this is Module 3, Lesson 5, where it's a continuation of Lesson 4. We're going to be talking about the distributive property, which is review from 6th grade. We're going to be doing this a little bit different, though. We're going to use the area model to figure out the distributive property. Now, I'm going to remind you, when you're finding area of a rectangle, you're doing length times width. So in this model right here, we have to find the area of this first rectangle. We're just going to do 11 times 16. You can use your calculator if you want. 11 times 16 gives us 176. Now, this rectangle right here, it would be a 5 times 11, or 55. So the area of each region would be 176 and 55, and you get that by just multiplying the two together. Now, let's use that to go in to multiplying using variables. So it says find an equivalent expression by modeling with a rectangular array and applying the distributive property to the expression 5 times 8x plus 3. Now, just like yesterday, we are going to model this using these rectangular arrays. We're not going to draw every single line, just draw a rectangle. And we're going to split this into two sections. So this would be considered the 8x, and this would be considered the 3. Now remember from yesterday, if you do that 5 times, you would have 5 rows. You don't have to separate them, but just show that that is 5 rows of 8x's plus 3. So if we're going to simplify this, just like using the area model from before, you're going to do length times width. So 5 times 8x. 5 8x's is 8x plus 8x plus 8x plus 8x 5 times. That would give you a total of 40 x's. Now, if we're doing the area of this section over here, it would be 5 times 3, length times width, or 15. So the area altogether would be if I just add these two together. So 40x plus 15 would be the area of the whole thing. Now think about our expressions. We can't go any simpler than this because this has an x and this doesn't. So this would actually be our answer to this problem. Now, last year you learned how to distribute. I'm just going to rewrite the problem down here so I can show you. By taking the number on the outside and multiplying it by the first term. So 5 times 8x is 40x. 5 times 3 is 15. Notice that it's the same exact answer. So whether you show it using your rectangular array or if you just use the distributive property, you'll still get 40x plus 15. All right, so I'm going to have you try this on your own. I would like you to draw an array, that's what the directions say, for each expression, and find the answer for the total area for parts A and B. When you're done, stop and check to make sure that A and B are correct. You are not going on to C quite yet. All right, so just A and B right now. Go ahead and hit pause. When you're done, hit play. All right, so this one right here, I'm going to draw my rectangular array. So I have, this is x and 1. This would be 2 because there would be 2 rows. So find the area of the first one, which would be 2 times x, or 2x. This would be 2 times 1, or 2. So add that together, and that's your answer. Now, if I actually take 2 times x plus 1 and use the distributive property, 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 1 is 2. Notice they are the same answer. All right, to part B, let's draw the rectangular array again. So we're going to put 2c and 5 here, and there would be 10 rows of them. So 10 times 2c gives me 20c. 10 times 5 gives me 50. So 20c plus 50 would be my answer. let's use the distributive property. So 10 times 2c plus 5. So 10 times 2c is 20c. 10 times 5 is 50. That has a c, that does not, so we cannot go any further, and it is the same answer. All right, part C and D is not asking you to do the rectangular array. It is just simply asking you to distribute. So go ahead and do that. Hit pause. When you're done, check your answers. All right, so take the 3 on the outside and multiply. 3 times 4, or 4f is 12f. 3 times, that's a negative 1. Just like we take the sign with the number, that would be negative 1. So 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. All right, to part D. 9 times negative 3r is negative 27r. And 9 times negative 11, because that becomes a negative sign, would be negative 99. All right, so what happens if we come up with an expression that looks like this, where we have more than 2 terms on the inside? Well, it's the same method. I'm going to show you using the rectangular array, and then I will show you using just the distributive property. So we have 3 terms here. We have an x, a y, and a z. We have 4 rows of them. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times y is 4y. 4 times z is 4z. So my answer would be 4x plus 4y plus 4z. Add them all up to get the total area. Now the problem is this has an x, a y, and a z, so you cannot combine anything, so that is actually your answer. So, want to see what it would look like if we use the distributive property? Let me rewrite the problem here. So if I use the distributive property, I would take the 4 and I'd multiply by x. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times y is 4y. And 4 times z is 4z. Notice that you get the same answer. All right, so I am going to have you try exercise 3 on your own, okay? You are going to use an area model and then use distributive property, just like I did in the example before. So go ahead and hit pause and make sure you have the correct answer when you're done. All right, so here's my area model. I have 3 terms. So I have x, 2y, 5z. There's 3 rows of them. So that would give me 3 x's, 6 y's, and 5 z's. I'm sorry, 15 z's. So my answer is 3x plus 6y plus 15z. I can't go any further because they all have different letters. Now with the distributive property, let me rewrite this problem. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 2y is 6y. 3 times 5z is 15z. And you get the same answer. All right, so I'm going to make it a little bit trickier now. Now that we know how to distribute, let's apply that and then combine like terms to simplify. So here's my expression right here. I'm just going to rewrite it over here so I'm not stuck on the right-hand side of the page. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when simplifying an expression is look for the distributive property. So we actually have 2 distributive properties here. Let's start with the 12. 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times negative 3g is negative 36g. Just remember, subtraction is the same thing as negatives. All right, now this is a positive 8. Remember, you always take that sign with it, just in case it's a minus sign, it would be negative 8, but it's plus, so it's positive. So 8 times g is 8g. 8 times f is 8f. Now, this is not in simplest form because we have 2 terms that have g's. So I'm going to put a circle around 12. There's nothing like 12. I'm going to put a box around negative 3g. Actually, I don't even have to rewrite this, and you'll see why in a second. And I'm going to put a box around 8g, and then a triangle around 8f. So I'm not going to rewrite it because they're already next to each other, so I don't have to rewrite that again. But 12 stays as 12. I have a negative 36 plus 8, which gives us negative 28g plus 8f. And now that's as simple as we can go. Okay, so 12 minus 28g plus 8f is my answer. All right, I am going to have you attempt this problem set for homework tonight. When you come in, we will check all of these answers. Good luck.